Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Peterson, and I am the Architect Licensing Advisor for the state of Texas. I'm here to present to you guys your path to licensure and the 2023 updates from NCARB. If at any point you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Rachel Cooper, Executive Director at TXA, myself, at txa.ctx.ala@gmail.com. And if you have any specific NCARB related questions, contact NCARB customer service. They are the end all be all, and they will answer everything accurately and assuredly. To start this off, typically in the standard NCARB presentation, there are 42 slides. And this year I have included and noted which ones are updated, which ones are added, and which ones have stayed the same. Right now, we are on slide 3, one of the added ones that I made to show which ones we will be looking at in depth at least, or may have any additional information. Mostly these will relate to just either little nuances or specific upgrades, improvements, or changes that NCARB has shared with its various architecture licensing advisors on the new updates to the system, or things that won't be updated and will remain the same all the way through 2027. So to kick it off, what is NCARB? Well, NCARB facilitates licensure. NCARB's main role is to educate, make sure that those who are educated have enough experience, and those that are ready to complete the exams, take the exams. In most cases, to become licensed, candidates must earn a degree from a program accredited by the National Architectural Accreditation Board, or NAB. Keep in mind that the program is accredited by NAB and not the school. NAB will come around and accredit schools and look at the schools to validate whether or not they meet the criteria for NAB. For example, my undergraduate degree is not a NAB certified degree. However, my graduate degree is a NAB certified degree. So I've only been in Texas for 2 years, but I have been told that those who go to Texas A&M will be in similar shoes that I was in. So this is specifically for Texas, as each jurisdiction of the 55 different licensure boards across the United States and its territories have its own set of rules and standards. So therefore, graduating from a non-accredited program actually may meet the educational requirements for licensure in a few jurisdictions. That will be on slide 8 for those interested with this new rule. Experience. Most of the architectural registration boards require some amount of experience in order to become licensed. The Architectural Experience Program, formerly known as the IDP, the Intern Development Program, is a training program created to ensure that licensure candidates gain the training and knowledge and skills they require for independent practice of architecture. And across all 55 jurisdictions, the exam is required. There is no point in any jurisdiction that you will be able to become a licensed architect in the United States without an examination, unless you get a mutual recognition agreement with England, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and that is it for now that NCARB has made agreements with. So what does it take to earn your license? Well, the quickest way to find out is to go to ncarb.org/registration-boards. This is a tool that is informed by the various registration boards in all the jurisdictions. Each jurisdiction is different. If you are familiar with high school history, it is because of states' rights. There are no specific unilateral licensure for the entire United States. It works on a state-by-state basis and not in a country basis. So If you are curious about getting your license in Texas or Arizona, Florida, Alabama, Michigan, Washington, go check out the NCARB website and review this tool. It's interactive, it's colorful, and it's educational. So, what is NAB? NAB is the association that evaluates architecture programs in the United States to ensure that graduates are prepared with adequate technical and critical thinking skills. Without a degree from a NAB accredited program, you may be limited in terms of where you can practice, as well as you may have additional requirements to earn an architecture license and NCARB certification. If you don't hold a degree from a NAB accredited program, you can still earn your license in a state that doesn't require the degree, or you can pursue further education by attending a NAB accredited degree program like myself. So if you need help finding out if your school is accredited or find out a school that is accredited so you can get a NAB degree, head over to nab.org and check out the architecture programs and school search. Currently, I'm located in Austin, Texas, and the University of Texas Architecture program has been NAB certified since the 50s. So if you do your research, you will find some interesting facts and figures. So, as I mentioned before, there are some states that will allow you to pursue your licensure without getting a NAB certified degree. NCARB is happy to announce that they have been working in cooperation with the CCCAP, the Coalition of Community College Architecture Programs, to allow those who are on different pathways towards architecture to actually gain their license. NCARB recognizes that everybody should be able to achieve what is within their grasp. So if you are at a community college or thinking about going to a community college or a program that isn't NAB certified, you can check in with CCCAP and also the licensure tool to see which areas, which states you will be able to get a architecture license or pursue a license without the NAB certified degree. So in this image, the states that are gray are the ones where you can get an architecture license without the NAB degree. So if you are interested in pursuing license and you have a non-NAB degree, you can pursue your license in Arizona or Colorado for that matter. So at this point, Rachel, are there any questions in the chat? Anybody have any questions?
No questions yet, but if you do have them about the kind of education section of this, please put them in the chat.
Yes, and I'll do my best to answer them. If it's a question that requires a longer answer, definitely we'll take it offline and record it. And if it contains information that's valuable for others, we'll absolutely upload it and share that wealth of information with those that are interested. All right, moving on from the education to the experience. The AXP, the Architectural Experience Program, provides a framework to guide you through gaining and recording your professional experiences. NCARB recognizes that education is experience and experience is education. NCARB would like you to get as much real-world experience you can to safely and competently handle the scenarios you'll face as an architect. If you are curious about what the AXP guidelines are, here's a brief overview. There's a downloadable packet from NCARB that you can look through. It has a table of contents, references. You can look at it, refer, check to see what the next steps are, refresh yourself with what you need to do, and the various things along the way that might help you with your pathway to architecture. The AXP guidelines includes the steps to complete the program, reporting procedures on hours, training requirements, and an overview of the tasks that you should understand and be able to perform before becoming licensed. So remember, it's not about seat time. You can spend 5,000, 10,000 hours working and not do or understand all the things that you might need to in real world scenarios as an architect. So it's not about seat time, it's about competency. So how do you check and verify that competency? So these are not end all be all tasks, but they're examples of things that you should be able to do as a licensed architect. And through the AXP program, these are some things that you should be able to do, such as in the programming analysis tasks, you should be able to, or you should have, consider the results of environmental studies when developing site alternatives, determine the impact of environmental zoning and other regulations on site, so on and so forth. So when you go through the hours that you submit, you should also be reflecting and looking back on, have I done this? Did I do this? Could I do this? Is my supervisor able to help me recommend a path in order to pursue these tasks? Can I get these tasks? And this is a good tool to say, hey, boss, I have no idea how to develop a conceptual budget. Will you please help me? So these, if you had a hard time reading, this is a little zoom in. Just remember that seat time is not competency. So when you complete your AXP hours, they have two settings, experience A and experience O. To help, my mnemonic is setting A is setting architecture, setting O is setting other. So A has a minimum number of hours, meaning that you have to participate in a minimum of 1,860 hours in this specific setting. And in order to qualify for these settings, the experience needs to follow these requirements. Direct supervision by an AXP supervisor licensed as an architect in the United States or Canada. 2, work in an organization engaged in the lawful practice of architecture as defined by the individual jurisdictions. And thirdly, and most importantly, the experience must be paid. Unpaid internships do not count to the A category. So that is very important. So setting O, setting other experience opportunities. So there are caps for how many hours you may earn in the O setting, and that will actually count towards licensure. As you can see, going to a site visit with a mentor can count for up to 40 hours. So if you are part of an emerging professionals program or attend an event with AIA or ULI, and you go with a mentor, you go with somebody who has some supervision over you or is able to sign off for your hours, you can count up to 40 of those hours. If you are in construction and you are on site, your life path includes being able to build in the field, you can count those hours. So the best practice here would be to verify and double check for all the different opportunities that you are eligible for AXP hours under setting O. So the way that each of the experience areas boil down to are 6: practice management, project management, programming analysis, project planning and design, project development and documentation, construction, and evaluation. This has been boiled down since ARE 4.0, which had 7. Now there are 6. It's consolidated, and these are the areas in which you will have to earn the hours, participate in the hours, and fill your hours out this way. If you have any questions or are unsure what kind of hours, how many hours is a task that you are doing valid for credit, check the AXP guidelines. It's those tasks. If you are doing one of those tasks, that counts for your hours, or you can put your hours in that bucket. The required tasks are designed to span the different phases of your early career in architecture, Some are simpler, while others may require a little bit more skill and experience over time. So keep in mind that every state is different, every jurisdiction is different, every territory is different. There are some states that have additional requirements to meet their experience requirements. Just be sure to refer back to the NCARB tool and double check to see if there's something that is different or something that has changed. When I graduated undergrad, the Virginia jurisdiction had a requirement of being 3 years in the field. They have recently taken that moved away. So it's just make sure that you are up to date and wary of any changes, because NCARB only reports what the jurisdictions tell them. So in this graphic, the jurisdictions in just solid blue require the completion of AXP through the documentation of 3,740 hours. The jurisdictions in gray, which are none right now, but with the diagonal lines, they require AXP plus additional hours. And those in crosshatch have a duration requirement. The length varies based on jurisdiction, and it's one of those scenarios where you would be most well served by checking online to make sure that your expectations or understandings of the requirements are in line with what the jurisdictions have published. So some people are really good about this, some people aren't. The experience that you gain, the experience that you report has a little bit of a time limit. Right now, any experience that you gained before February 3rd, 2023 will count up to half credit. But every hour that you have documented and recorded and submitted from February 4th until now will absolutely count for 100% credit. So if you did, let's say, 8,000 hours, but didn't record any of them until after 8 months, the most you can get is 4,000 from that, which is much better than what AXP and NCARB used to do, which was after 6 months, you are SOL. So this has been a recent change, and they used to have it at 6 months. They've extended to 8. So if you are at any point worried or concerned that your hours will be null and void, don't worry. They just count for 50%. So don't be discouraged if you missed your little time frame. It's fine. Be resilient and just keep recording those hours. You are definitely able to get twice, thrice, quadruple the amount of hours in a single category, but you have to make sure that you fill out all the categories. All right, so something that is a recent addition to the AXP program is the mentor. It's somebody who is interested in helping you, but doesn't necessarily have your, I guess, he's not paying you. He doesn't work with you, or he or she. As mentor is somebody that's completely optional, somebody you can go back and forth with, talk to them, ask them about your path, your career, things of that nature. I see lots of chat bubbles, Rachel. All right. So the difference between a supervisor and a mentor is that the supervisor is the person that has the control over your work and is the one that will sign off on your hours and be the one that is double checking and making sure that your tasks are being completed, your hours are being accurately recorded, and they're the one that will certify all your hours. So 2 new things that NCARB has done has been create supervisor resources. There are now resources that supervisors can have to help them help you. And as a bonus, they can get HSW continuing education credits. So it's no longer just a thankless task. They get something out of it if they watch the videos, participate in the programs. There's worksheets in case they need help. They can subscribe to the newsletter for AXP supervisors, and there's a brand new guide that they can download, review, and understand their requirements. And now I say requirements because there is a brand new rule in the NCARB model rules of conduct. If somebody is your supervisor, it is their further obligation to the profession and the public to be responsible in assisting the candidate, assisting you in the proper and timely documentation in accordance with that program. So if the person that is approving your AXP hours has NCARB behind their name, they can lose that if they don't help you. If they're a jerk, definitely report it. It's part of the rules of the codes of conduct to help the next generation. The big takeaway from this is just make sure that your supervisor, if they would like to maintain their NCARB letters behind their name, and that you've asked them for help, it is an obligation of them now to give that help. All right, so experience reporting. There's multiple ways to do this. You can do this online on a computer or through an app. You can submit your hours in bulk. Say I worked for 5 weeks. Each week was 40 hours. And I was only doing construction documents. So I'm putting all of my hours in project development and documentation. And there's also, you can do it day by day or by week basis. I would very much recommend that you do the day-by-day basis on personal experiences, because not every hour that you are at work counts towards your licensure. If you did construction documents for 6 hours, just you were in Revit, AutoCAD, doing something 6 hours, and the other 2 hours were all staff employee meetings. Great, that's 6 hours in project development and documentation, and 2 in practice management. But if the next day you do 4 hours of construction documents and then 4 hours of troubleshooting the server because it got broken somehow, you don't get any XP hours for fixing a server. So just be aware. NCARB will audit people's hours if there's any confusion, concern, or I guess flags that are raised. So just be aware. You can absolutely submit bulk. You can absolutely submit week by week. You can submit it on the computer or on the app. You can record it at the end of a quarter, at the end of 8 months, or just at the end of the day. Just be wary that you should be keeping track. So a different option is the AXP portfolio. This will satisfy your AXP requirements for those who, put a career on hold. They moved away from the state that they used to work in, or they worked at a place, decided to go back to school, and everybody at that firm that was their supervisor just up and left and don't have any LinkedIn, social media, email forwarding. They just up and left. But you still did your work. And the way that you can prove that is with documenting your experience with exhibits for all 96 tasks. It's going to be a big old PDF showing that you are competent in all of these things. You've done this. You've made a budget. You checked the environmental stuff. You used Revit for construction documents. And so that is what the portfolio is for. And who is eligible? You must have at least 2 hours of experience from over 5 years ago. So, for example, if you got a degree that wasn't NAB certified and you worked for 2 or 3 years, and then you got accepted into grad school, got an app degree, and you had your life, kept working, and you realized you forgot to submit those hours in between, and those hours would be enough to put you through the experience program. This is absolutely for you. What you can do to verify and check with that you meet the requirements, or that your resources will meet that, is to contact NCARB directly. Customer service over there will be able to then direct you and help you figure out if that pathway is the right one for you. All right. So if you need to start your record, there's no better time than now. The simple process is it's $100 to start it and $85 every year to maintain it. I would recommend that if you decide to let it lapse and you don't pay that $85 each year, you used to have to pay an additional fee to restart your license. They are moving away from that. So be aware that if your record is not active, then you may not be as ready to record your hours, and it might it might be a little bit of a hang up, but it's well worth it. All right, so we are at the end of the education section. Rachel, I see 15 some odd bubbles.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the questions was about how to log hours that are over 8 months old. Is it that same portal that you were mentioning?
Yes. So anecdotally, if your hours are more than 8 months old, start at the I guess make it in 8-month blocks. So if your hours are from February 3rd, 2023 up until April 3rd, 2022, use that as a section. And then if you have more hours like that, just do it in 8-month blocks for the sake of simplicity, anecdotally. NCARB will automatically understand that it's over 8 months because you put them in the certain timeline, and will let you know that they are being credited for half.
Great. We also had two other questions that might be more individual, but in those other work categories in the AXP experience hours, someone was asking if a registered interior designer might count in the other work category, or there's another thing that's more specific. Is that something that they should look into more on the NCARB website?
Yes. A registered interior designer is not underneath the umbrella of NCARB. So that may be, in the purest technical sense, they are not a foreign architect. They're not a landscape architect. They're not an engineer, nor are they an architect not practicing architecture. They may be an interior designer or a licensed interior designer under RID or its IIDA. So in the most technical sense, they could, with that person, do design competitions, go to a site, and technically they could file their hours under the design or construction related employment for a maximum of 8 weeks or 320 hours.
Great. Yeah, and if for those of you that have a little more specific questions, I would, as Michael said, direct you to the NCARB customer service. I think when it gets a little more specific, they're the best people to help you out with that. There were also some questions, Michael, earlier about people who had foreign degrees, and is that something you're going to touch on later in the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
That's going to be in the late 30s and early 40s.
Great. So we will get to those folks later. But that is all for now.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you for helping, Rachel. Again, if there's anything that you would like to ask, especially for the benefit of all, please put it in the chat. Rachel's helping me out and will let me know the questions, and if there is something that may require another call or something that may help others, we'll definitely record it and share it as necessary. So the AREs, tests. What do you need to know about the tests? What you need to know is there's 6 of them, just like the AXP hour divisions. Each test is based off of different elements, different lengths of questions, and different, for all intents and purposes, difficulty. Tests from the ARE 4.0s were condensed, which may reflect why some are 5 hours and some are 3.5 hours. If you don't like this, if you can find a time machine, you can go back to the 70s where you had to take all the tests over a 3-day or over a week with everybody, and it was a once-a-year thing. If you don't like that, welcome to 2023. The AXP experience aligns with the 5.0 divisions to simplify the path to licensure and help you connect, your real-world experiences with the exam preparation. Keep in mind that each jurisdiction has its own set of rules when you are eligible to take the ARE. Some states, you can take the AREs while you're still in college. Some may require you to be out of college, and some might require that you complete your AXP hours beforehand. There are definitely instances where individuals have completed all the exams, but still don't have their hours yet. So be aware of that. It is a possibility. Just make sure that you check the licensure requirement tool. So how does the exam work? Show up, take the test, and leave. Now it's a little bit more complicated than that. When you show up for the exam, there is some background that needs to be done. Make sure that your ID is shown, make sure that you're the real person, make sure that you're not somebody that was paid to take the test for someone else. Make sure that everything is copacetic. And this is for both in-person and online exams. There is an introduction time, make sure that everything works time. And then when the actual test happens, there are 2 flavors of questions. Discrete test items, which can range from multiple choice to math problems where you have to enter in the answer to whatever degree of accuracy they request. At the end of the exam, at the end of the green, candidates will have the opportunity to view provisional feedback on their performance to see, hey, you did really good in this section, but not so much in this section. You can improve on this. And provisionally, if you passed, might have failed, or failed. There are circumstances where you can say you passed, you got all the questions according to NCARB, but then it turns out that some of the questions were worded weirdly or are nullified, and now you're no longer in that passing realm. And the reverse, you can have a provisional fail, but then a question or 2 that you got wrong might be thrown out, and lo and behold, you passed. In circumstances like that, I have seen your entire test be refunded because, hey, you thought you failed, you were all bummed out, but they changed it. So lo and behold, now you have another passing test under your belt and a little bit of an apology for their error. So the ARE policies, this is one of the things that have changed. The tests are no longer taken at Prometric centers, but rather PSI. They are not done on the Prometric online format. If you're doing it online, they're done on the PSI format. But what has not changed is that the cost of each test is $235. Each test is the same cost, no matter what. If you fail a test, you can retake the test after 60 days. And you can retake a test up to 3 times a year. So if you take a test on January 1st, fail, you can take it again March 1st, fail, can take it May 1st, but now you will have to take it again, or the next time you can take it will be January 1st of the next year. Now, technically that is a little confusing because it's per running year. So if we just shifted it a month to first one February, second one April, third one June, you fail that third one in June, the next time you can take it is not January 1st, but February 1st. And this is in fairness. So if somebody decides to take the tests from the second half of the year, they can't technically take it again 3 more times at the beginning of the following year, because that would be 6 times in a single running year. NCARB does this for the sake of everyone's sanity, and it's a pretty nice sanity to keep. This is another update. The rolling clock policy. NCARB no longer mandates the rolling clock. Some jurisdictions have it in their laws. For example, until 1 month minus 2 days ago, TBAE, Texas Board of Architectural Examination, Texas had on the books the rolling clock. It was part of the laws in Texas, and now it's not. So be wary that some states, some jurisdictions, some territories, they have it in their books and haven't repealed it yet. I believe that it went from 11 and is now down to 9 states that still have the rolling clock policy on the books. So if you're in Texas, cool, don't worry about it. Or sorry, let me rephrase that. If you are pursuing your licensure in Texas, rolling clock is not something you have to worry about anymore. And now to get to the bigger block of text, which NCARB has dubbed the exam +1 score validity. Up until sometime earlier this year, the scores that if you had taken the exams during the ARE 4.0 time period, there was a time where you had to make sure that you almost like a rolling clock, finish those exams or finish your 5.0 exams for those to count. Now, with the new ARE exam +1 validity, all the scores from ARE 4.0 will absolutely still count now. So let's say you passed 5 out of the 7 for ARE 4.0. Technically now, if you go back and look at your NCARB portfolio, you can see that those exams counted. Now you only have 2 areas left, and by all luck that those have been combined down to 1 in the current 5.0 program. Scores from ARE 3.0 or 3.1, they're still invalid. But you can rest assured that if any ARE 4.0 tests you took previously, they will absolutely still be valid all the way through 2027. NCARB does not believe there's going to be any giant changes to that. But when the new ARE 6.0 program comes out, there will be no more ARE 4.0 scores accepted, and ARE 5.0 will follow the same program. So your ARE 5.0 tests, if for some reason you have to take off because of career, family life, your Gaston in Disney World, you can't pass up the opportunity. You don't have to necessarily worry about it until ARE 7.0. All right, so an additional update for ARE came about last year, which are additional testing times for those with English second language or English as a second language. In order to pursue this, you have to make sure that you download and complete the form on NCARB's website and submit it to them. The process for this is online. In addition to additional time, there is a word-to-word translation dictionary that you are able to bring. And this is only for in-person tests. If you are not at an in-person test, then that's not fair in all senses. If you're at home on taking your test by a computer, it's not fair that other people won't be allowed to have that piece of paper or that dictionary. And that definitely might add some confusion, muddle the water, and make things not great for the validity and security of the tests. So if you want to have extra time and you submit, you can do that for both in person and online. But if you would like a word-to-word direct translation dictionary, you must bring it printed, physically printed, with no handwriting, no additional marks, no images, to the test center. The overseers at the test center will be the end-all be-all answers on if this is valid or this is not valid. So be aware that you can't add any markups, you can't change anything, just straight print it. And one note on this is valid in 54 jurisdictions, but not New York. You cannot bring a word-for-word dictionary if you are taking your exams for New York. During each test, you have the opportunity to take a break. These are long tests, 3.5 hours, 5 hours. They're long tests, and you can take the break at any point. If you answer question 1, think, all right, I need a break, time to move on. You can absolutely do that. But you can't do it again. They used up your 1 break. But if you do that 1 question, take a break, you cannot go back and review or take that question again. It's behind a little wall. And the reason why is NCARB doesn't know what you did during that time. They don't know if you went to the bathroom or your locker or whatever to check some answers, double check, verify. So if you complete 5 questions and you go on your break, you can't review those 5 questions. If you don't answer the questions, if you just click through and you're on question 20, you haven't answered any, and you need to take a mental break, you can't answer those 20 questions again. You cannot come back. So be aware that once you have reviewed or looked at a question and take a break, you cannot go back to that question, period. All right, so what are the ARE guidelines? Within the actual guidelines posted on NCARB's website, you can find out about the exam policies, the procedures, the content, and whether you're testing online or in person. It is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about the AREs. They have fantastic graphics, references on what is a good thing to reference to make sure that you have your information down pat. The most recommended material is the Architect's Handbook of Professional Practice. Definitely review that. That's one of those resources that it's really important, it's invaluable. 1,200 pages, definitely a good read. Other resources that NCARB has officially just approved for, hey, this is a good thing to reference, to look at, whether it's Building Construction Illustrated by Francis Shing, or if it's just reviewing the Code of Ethics from the AIA Institute Code of Conduct Handbook online. These are resources that the ARE is based on or references. This is one of the newer things. It's been around for about a year and a half, but you can now take practice exams. They are full length, actively timed tests that will let you pretend like you are in the actual exam. They'll let you use the tools like the whiteboard, the calculator, the rules to say, hey, you can't go back and review or answer these because you already looked at them. And the bonus is that those who take the practice exams, NCARB has done the data and saw that you have a 13% better chance at passing than those who did not take the exam or practice exams before their exams. The demo exam will go through the questions in an exact same manner that the test will. There's multiple choice, there's math questions, there's case studies. This is almost exactly the same as what you will see if you go to a testing center or you take it online. The only difference is that it will not say demonstration. There are additional resources. NCARB has some that are on their website. A very valuable and important one is the forum, because you may be able to see that you are not the only one struggling with the whiteboard or struggling with certain parts of the test, or you have questions. Definitely check out the forums, because anecdotally, if you have a Microsoft Windows big computer, you will have very limited to no problems with the whiteboard. But if you have a smaller laptop or a MacBook, you may have some difficulties with the whiteboard or the tests. So going through one of those exams is a good way to see if you have everything set up, and a good forum to check to see if others feel the same. The things that the ARE references are these. The 2017 family of AIA contract documents, which are updated every 10 years. And these are contracts that are have been proven over time to benefit the owners, the contractors, and the architects, and protect the architects, owners, and contractors in certain ways. They're updated every 10 years, so you will not have to worry about checking out the new contracts until after 2027. The IBC 2018 International Building Code, that is where, if you are as interested as my old roommate, you can read through the whole thing to help you with your test. Good for you, Cameron. Additionally, the ARE 5.0 guidelines are a great resource with the matrix that will help you guide your studies and to make sure that whatever's on the test is referencing something from these. There are two ways to take the exam: in person and online proctoring. Online proctoring is an animal in of itself. You will have to do a lot of additional double checkings to make sure that your environment is good, you're not cheating, you don't have someone giving you the answers on teleprompt. And if you do it at the test center, it means that you have all that taken care of. If there's an issue, you can raise your hand, someone come over. If you're online, they have someone that is watching and can help you with your online test. This is one of the brand new updates. NCARB had some unintended consequences with their ability to reschedule tests. Up until 2 months ago, you could reschedule a test for free if you did it 2 days before your exam. Now, they're changing that. And the reason why is because up until the last second, a lot of people would take seats, take spots in person exams at centers, and then last minute cancel them. So people that were prepared, were ready to take the exam, wouldn't really have that opportunity. So a lot of times there'd be very empty testing centers. So they have changed that. Each division is still $235. Your first reschedule, if done within the time frame appropriate, is free, but your second one is $50, and every one for your third onwards is $100. So if you want to also cancel your exam, it's also $100. So if you schedule it and you're not prepared, you can save yourself a little bit of money by either rescheduling it or canceling it rather than having to pay for the full exam. The various resources that NCARB recommends are all accessible from ncarb.org. The guidelines, the handbook, the videos, the community. There are a lot of resources that NCARB happily hosts. So, originally, your score report would simply be a pass or fail. Now, it is changing from just the bubbles of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bubbles to an actual percentage. How many did you get in this area of the test? What were these? And how many on average do candidates have? So if you're below average, it will tell you. If you're above average, it tells you in a concrete numerical format rather than the previous bubble scheme. The ARE is a professional licensure exam, so NCARB cannot provide candidates feedback on how they did on every single item. So this is a performance-based feedback and not an actual answer-by-answer feedback, specifically because it doesn't seem fair if you tell your best friend, oh, I faced this question, I did this question, and the right answer was this, compared to the other guy on your right, who may not have that friend that will help them cheat on the exam. So don't cheat. So NCARB certificate. Once you're
Michael,
licensed.
I'm going to stop you real quick for just one quick question about the rescheduling fees.
Yes.
Someone's asking if that model applies per individual test, or is it cumulative through all of the exams?
Each test. It is, yeah, if you schedule a PCM test and reschedule it once, that's free. And then great, you move on to PDD and you want to reschedule it, that's also free.
Okay,
It's
great.
not, it is not cumulative.
Great, thank you.
So I've been talking for a while. I'm going to speed through this of what is an NCARB certificate. NCARB certificate certifies that you have met the national standards of eligibility for licensure and recommends that you be registered as an architect without further requirements. However, because many of the 55 jurisdictions have varying requirements, seeking licensure in additional jurisdictions is often easier and faster when NCARB certified, meaning that NCARB will work with the various jurisdictions and tell them, hey, he's good in our book, let him be in your book. And some states will accept that. Some examples that might not allow that reciprocity are places like New York and California that have additional requirements. California, earthquakes. Not every other state jurisdiction has earthquakes. So it's kind of why California would like you to do a little bit extra to prove that you're competent, especially in California with earthquakes. Certified architects can use the letters NCARB as a professional credential after their name. And your certified professional records are maintained in a secure environment by NCARB, ready for quick transfer when a new opportunity may arise if you want to pursue work in a different state at your current firm or pursue a new firm in a different state, but maintain your marketability with that degree or that certification. And especially, it looks pretty snazzy and can help you give you the edge in pursuing a client. All right, so to revisit the question about being educated in a foreign country and how it relates to the NCARB certificate process. This is an overall simplification of the timeline. Education, experience, examination, licensure, NCARB certification. That is the standard prototypical pathway. Now, there are more. One of the updates is that NCARB no longer calls them alternative, but rather additional, because they're still as equal and valid as the original pathway. So an additional educational pathway may include getting a bachelor's degree and an apprenticeship, working maybe 10 years. The way that you can pursue that is by doing recording and submitting twice as many AXP hours. And keep in mind it is an option, but every jurisdiction may not accept this parity program. So keep in mind that you should check the website and verify. And if you have any questions, call up the licensure board from that state. All right. Another one, which was the one discussed earlier, is the EESA, the Education Evaluation Services for Architects. This is where you can have your college education verified that it met the NAB or NCARB requirements. Keep in mind, not everybody accepts this, and this one requires a lot of legwork from you to provide a translator for those records. Make sure that you are in good standing for at least 3 years, and additionally provide your portfolio of resources. But this is an additional path to make sure that, hey, you can still achieve your license. The foreign education, this is the EESA again. Instead of providing a portfolio, you have to provide US coursework as required if the transcript from your undergrad or your education after translation doesn't meet the standards that NCARB has done. In order to do this, you have to ask. Email NCARB, call them, say, I would like to start the EESA process, and they will send you a link with to get started. This is a similar, but does not require the EESA, which is the Foreign Architect Credential, which the way that this process works is you send a transcript to show you've graduated. You've also worked in America or the United States, Canada for the experience section, and you have to pass the exams. So even if you're a licensed architect in another country, you still have to do the AXP and the ARE exams. One caveat or note about this is the Foreign Architect Credential Verification Form, the CVF. You would need to submit this twice. Once when you begin this process to basically say that you're not the architect serial killer from this country and you're in good standing. And then you need to submit it again at the end of your exams, the end of your experience, to say that you have not become the architect serial killer, or you've designed a building that fell down on someone and that's why you're out of the country, you're being run out. So be aware that you have to submit the credit verification form twice. It may be a little difficult for some jurisdictions because they may not accept mailing it, and you have to go pick it up in person. So keep that in mind. This seems a little bit better than having to go through college again in the United States as an alternative. So keep that in mind if this is the path for you. If you have any questions about that path, ask NCARB customer service. And the final little update from NCARB is the mutual reciprocity agreements. If you are a licensed architect in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Mexico, or the United Kingdom, fantastic. Just say please, and you can get reciprocity in the United States and vice versa. right now, NCARB is working with other international organizations to try to verify that everything is above board and that there's not a common, how to put this nicely, a common thread of cheating. Just making sure that it's not the norm for people with architecture licenses in certain countries, areas, to just sell their stamp to somebody to make sure they get an extra 40,000 a year. Just they try to make sure that each country or each mutual reciprocity agreement is all above board and holds water. So we're at the end. To make sure that everything is copacetic, I am a volunteer. I am the architect licensing advisor for the state, and it is my commitment to assist all the candidates navigating their path to licensure and advising architects on reciprocity, on the licensure process to licensure candidates, and just the general public. You can look to your advisor for firsthand knowledge about AXP, taking the ARE, NCARB certification, meeting your jurisdiction requirements. I am here to help. I am not here, however, to tell you that is NCARB. I can suggest things, but it is a very distinct distinction that I am not NCARB. I am working in partnership with NCARB. So I can suggest things, but I am not the end all be all, nor is another architect license advisor. If you want to join the conversation, this is another slide that has been updated. You can go to x.com/NCARB, youtube.com, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, the actual ARE 5.0 community on NCARB.com, and ask any questions of your peers as necessary, or, you know, tag NCARB on Instagram, say, I'm awesome because I passed my test. So that is everything that I can ramble on about for a good hour. If you have any questions, my contact information is here. NCARB customer support information is here. And TBAE, the Texas Board of Architectural Examiners information is also here. So this isn't the order in which you might want to ask questions specifically related to the NCARB questions that you may have. That wraps it up for me. I see a little more chat bubbles. Rachel, who do we have? What do we got?
We're good. I was just providing people with that licensing requirements tool and customer service contact, because I feel like that can help a lot of people. I think there's a question about allowing a foreign credentialed architect to skip AXP. I think that might go into what you were saying about those certain countries who have the reciprocity.
So if they're from one of these 5 countries, yes. If you are not, no. There are some additional, I guess, unique niche questions like that NCARB customer service is much better suited to answer, because I have seen places that have suggested that, hey, after 10 years, that's fine. But as far as the specific requirements go, if you're an architect in another country that is not Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United Kingdom, or Mexico, you still have to do AXP and ARE.
Great. I think that's all we have in terms of general questions. Anyone who had kind of a specific situation question that we didn't answer, like Michael said, go ahead and reach out to NCARB customer service. They're going to be your best line on if you've got a specific situation. Otherwise, I think that's it. We will be uploading TXA, this presentation, to our YouTube once we've got it all cleaned up. And I think that's
Yeah.
it for me.
Yep. So at this point, we'll end the recording, but I'm going to stay on and work through some of these questions that are asked.
Okay,
If you
great.
asked a question, I'll do my best to answer. Um, uh, Otherwise, I'm going to keep up the information here. Please feel free to reach out. I will note that NCARB customer service has gotten a lot better in the sense that it used to take them 120 business days to get back to you. Now it only takes 45 business days. So if you can wait 9 weeks, good on you. But if you can't, please reach out. I am here to help.